Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Weekly Wrap. It's the 12th of June, 2026, and there's two of us on the screen today. Mirko, how are you, buddy?
G'day, mate. I'm well. How are you?
Man, I'm going really, really, really well. I'm glad it's Friday. I can't believe it's 12th of June already, and I'm going, geez, we've got so much work to do and not enough time.
Yeah, and not happy about the 12th of June, let me tell you. But anyway, look, I said to someone the other day that every year is a bit of a mad rush heading into June 30, getting things done and whatnot. And before you know it, it's the 1st of July and we do it all over again as we have for the last 30 odd years. So it's great.
Absolute joy, mate. Absolute joy. And it's been a big week this week on the market too, Mirko, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been it has not been for the faint-hearted this week, and plenty of stuff going on. A lot of it got to do with the sort of news cycle. A lot of it got to do with what's happening in the Middle East, and the speculation around particular types of trades. But I was just running through the numbers this morning, and I'm like looking at, if I start in the hometown here. We're sitting today, we're up 1.5% this morning in the first 20 minutes of opening of markets, off the back of a more ordinary sort of day from that perspective. So it's been those sort of movements. If I look at what happened in the US, the Nasdaq last night was up 2.5%. The night before it was down 2%. In the US, the S&P 500 was up 1.75 last night, down 1.6 the night before. So it's been all over the shop. Fortunately, we are in the green just this at the coming into the end of the week, which is nice. But some of the dominant news that we've had is this discussion around, is the AI situation a boom bust type cycle? Are we pivoting away from those sort of stocks? One day we are, one day we're not. And then, to top it off, we've got, what's happening in the Middle East. And, 1 minute where I think we've got the pens out, we're about to sign a peace deal, Luke. And the next minute a helicopter's been shot out of the sky by a drone, and it's game on again. So, yeah, it's been quite incredible in truth. I had a quick look at, we're heading into June 30, as we just said, had a quick look at the numbers over the last 12 months, and I'm really starting to wonder, are we going to etch out? We're up about 0.5% for the last 12 months in Australia. Are we going to manage to stay in the green? Quite disappointing when you think the S&P 500's up 22% over the last 12 months. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that so we can report what ends up happening come June 30.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the S&P, if we actually extrapolated that and said, well, okay, who were the contributors, or the attribution of it all, I think you'll find that it's probably just sitting in those AI stocks. Hence the reason why.
Those, mega caps, correct, 100%, 100%. And we struggle in that department. We don't really tend to have much of a tech sector here.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Now, interestingly enough, you mentioned Iran before. It appears overnight, and that probably has sent the market quite bullish this morning on the basis of that. It looks like that we might have another peace deal on the table, and it looks like that this one is actually close. I think this is version number 74, so it's good. We're close to it. I believe Donald Trump is happy with it, but the Iranian media have come out and said we're conceptually okay, but there are certain things that we will not accept that are still in the red. So as close as we are is as far as we are, I think is probably the realistic outcome of this one.
You're right, mate.
Donald Trump tends to believe that we have peace and all of a sudden the strait reopens and so on, and that would be fantastic for global trade, and that would be fantastic for oil, and that would be fantastic from that end. But the reality is the amount of damage that we've caused over this 100+ days, this is not going to fix itself anytime soon. We've got 6 to 8 to 10 months worth of pain, haven't we?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's like, the boom gates, if you like, may open up, but it's going to be a long road back to sort of, get supply up and running, to get oil prices at reasonable levels again and the like. So, this has a long way to play. It's a bit like interest rates and reserve banks and moving rates. There's quite a lag effect. This is a physical lag effect that we'll see here. But I did see it quite during the week where Trump was talking about an interaction with Netanyahu, and he said, "I call the shots. He doesn't call the shots." If you have to go out of your way to tell people you call the shots, you're probably not calling the shots. Would be my argument, and I think that's been a sort of common theme in the entire negotiation process.
And likewise with Iran too. It's funny, he's sitting out there with all the bluster and the bravado that you want, but the reality is the Iranians are making the call here, and the Iranians are doing what they want to do, and and the reality is, he caused it to occur from that point of view. So I don't know how this ends, and I'm dying to see what this peace agreement is, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be great. And there's it's going to be an interesting one now. In other news, Mirko, overnight or coming up tonight, actually, which is really exciting, SpaceX is going to launch the biggest IPO, 75 billion US, in terms of its valuation. Which, just to put that into perspective here, we're talking, in terms of its sheer size, bigger than indexes, for God's sake.
I think the market cap, if it hits what they're expecting, is $1.78 trillion as a market capitalization for this stock. So biggest float in history, a lot of hype. Hopefully not a lot of hot air for investors, but let's see. I'll be definitely watching this one with interest and watching the movements of the stock on day one. They did get a bit of a smack in the mouth when they tried to sort of fast track their entry into the index, and but that got shuffled across and said no, you're not getting any special entry to the index. So that may have a bit of a say, because there's a lot of passive money that would be sort of basically forced to go in at that sort of market cap. So we'll see what happens. Be very interested to see. Elon Musk. I don't know. Does he ring the bell? What happens on the open? We'll see.
Look, it's and just for the benefit of our listeners too, it's 750 billion. I'm sorry, I think I said 75 billion. So this is its sheer size, and this is actually going to push Elon Musk into that stratosphere of our first trillionaire. I think from that point of view, which is just these numbers just are mind-boggling. And I guess, look, from our perspective, there, the big question around SpaceX is: Are you buying? A future, and are you paying something today for this story in the future from that point of view, and how real this is? It's going to be fascinating how this all plays out, I dare say.
Oh yeah. Looking forward to seeing this and seeing how real this total addressable market that's actually in space, how big it is.
Yeah, no, fair point. And the other thing there too, this week in the United States, is their job numbers were pretty strong. Okay, and that caused a bit of a connection on the market in a sense.
Yep. The US job numbers were actually quite strong during the week, which then begs the question: will their central bank perhaps even raise rates? And the first sign we had of that sort of consideration was a bit of pressure on the Aussie dollar, still hanging in there over 70 cents, but a bit, yeah. And again, we've got this discussion, as we have in Australia: is the next rate rise up? Is it down? We saw the effect on the Aussie dollar this week as well.
I think what we've got to really pay attention to, and what our clients are obviously thinking about as well, is you're looking at bond prices, and the bond prices in the United States. We've moved away from the each way bet to it's pointing more to the tightening bias there. So I think Kevin Walsh is going to have his hands tied to a certain degree.
Yeah, he may not have a choice if the figures keep coming through, and certainly inflation keeps coming through as strong as it is at the moment in the US.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how Trump responds to him, because Jerome Powell was such a goose according to Trump.
Yeah, he's been pushing for a rate cut, so he won't be happy if he doesn't get them.
No, absolutely. And on the rumour mill here in Victoria, it looks like Jacinta Allen might be on the nose. There's a discussion, or there's a movement saying that Labor is on the nose and they're going to lose the election, and there's talking about a spill.
There seems to be a hell of a lot of off the record comments being made in the media, which usually doesn't spell a good ending for the person in question. So Yeah, it would be interesting to see. I don't know, Luke, if you're a betting man, would you be betting that she'd be contesting the election in November?
Look, I think not. I think she's in trouble, but I think the whole Labor Party is in trouble in terms of I think Victorians have had enough, and I think they are looking for something different and a change. And I don't know Jess Williams. I don't know many of the policies from that point of view, but I kind of think that it'll be anyone else uh, first, then Labor second. I dare say in the Victorian election, it just feels that way.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It does. It does. Now we had a very sad but a celebration of life. Farewell to the amazing Neil Danaher. Yeah, that was yesterday at the GU State
Yep.
funeral. So that was a really touching event and a fine tribute to a fine individual who just, despite having all the illness and all everything stacked against him, decided to try and do something good out of it. And the fact that the Fight MND Association was able to raise over $100 million during the course of the journey. Let's hope that it continues to grow and that they actually find a cure for such a horrible illness.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And look, Mirko, I think it's amazing. It's amazing how strong somebody like a Neil Danaher was in terms of confronted with an illness. He could have just sat back and not done anything and just and dealt with it privately from that point of view. But he became the public face,
Yeah,
and put this on the spotlight. And the fact that you walk around the streets here in Melbourne of a day from that point of view, and people have got the hat on or the beanie on from that point of view is just
very
how
very
prevalent this has
cool.
become. Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
cool. One
yeah,
thing I do want to mention in relation to that, there was that wonderful couple, and I won't mention their names, from Queensland, and they're a developer, very wealthy from that point of view, and they initially made a $10 million donation to the appeal from that point of view, and then upon coming to the MCG on the Monday, increased it to 40 million. What
yeah.
an
That's
extraordinary
yeah,
gesture of
amazing,
giving. Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
You know,
Um,
one thing it does do, Mirko, it reminds us that in this complicated world where it feels like there's a lot of idiots running around causing all types of chaos and doing dumb things, there are still beautiful and great people out there who think about the common good and think about wanting to improve people's lives from that point of view. So to that wonderful couple, kudos. I thought that was just
Yeah,
absolutely
no,
awesome.
amazing people. There are some amazing people. So generous with whether it's with their time, whether it's with their resources to do that. And my understanding is that they didn't actually really have a big connection with the cause at all. It just they were so inspired when they actually saw what was going on.
Yeah,
They said, you know what, we've done well for ourselves in our lives. Let's do something nice, which is awesome. There should be far more of that in our community.
here. And I know you've got to go, but it would be remiss of us not to talk about this just for 1 second. Start of the World Cup this morning. Mexico beat South Africa 2-0. So we had two goals. We had three red cards. What a way to start a game, eh?
Yeah, it's all happening, and I'm loving the fact that it's actually in the US because the time zone is actually relatively friendly. It was only 5 a.m. when we saw the opening today, but no doubt we'll all be tuning in on Sunday at 2 p.m. I believe the Socceroos play their opening game against Turkey. So let's go Socceroos. Let's hope we can get some points on the board early in the tournament.
Yeah, no, it's going to be absolutely awesome, and just this is the greatest time to be alive. To sit back, watch sport, just enjoy it, and hopefully, it'll remind the world of, hey, when we focus on good things and we focus on things that are bringing us together, the world actually functions a little bit nicer. I dare say. So, look, just a final one. Who do you think's going to win the tournament, mate?
I did say I like Brazil. I think Brazil's got the ability. I think they're close enough to home to get a hell of a lot of support over there. So I reckon they're a chance. What
Yeah,
about you?
I think the Frenchies have got it. I think the French they're just way too strong in terms of that. But if there was a dark horse, that song "It's Coming Home" is ringing in my ears, and I'm just thinking, could it be the year of the mighty lion, the Englands or the English? Yeah, it'd be frightening if they do win, but yeah,
We'll
anything's
never
possible
we'll
there. So
never hear the end of it.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, mate. Well, look, thank you for joining me today. To all our wonderful clients out there, enjoy the festivities of the weekend. Get out there. I think it's going to be a little bit cold and a little bit wet, so the weather's not going to be too great. But just get out there and enjoy yourself as best as you can, and then settle in. Watch the games on TV with a nice drink in hand, and toast Australia's success. Hopefully on Sunday evening with a bit of luck. And to our team, thank you very much as always, and we'll chat soon and see you next week. Cheers, guys.
There you guys. Bye bye.